truly reflective of the frustration that you see behind me. And these doctors have gathered, some coming off their shifts to come out here, gathering to try to tell people, please, first of all, ignore the nonsense and the absurdities that you're hearing people say at public meetings and recognize the value of what a vaccine will do.
Florida has an incredibly low rate of vaccination, and the doctors there have had it. That's why these doctors walked out of their hospital in protest of all the unvaccinated patients they're seeing in their hospital beds. These hospital beds are filling up rapidly as there's very few beds left across the United States, and especially in states like Florida, where they are simply running out of ICU beds to care for all of their other patients, to include the coronavirus patients.
We obviously have some people that are not vaccinated that have been admitted to hospitals. Are you going to sit there? Are you going to sit there and criticize, or are we going to try to treat and try to help the folks? You know, I'm just sick of this I'm sick of the judgmental stuff on some of this stuff. Nobody's trying to get ill here. Okay, it's a very there's people that were hermits for a year and a half that wore 6 masks and did that and still contracted it. Okay,
these unvaccinated people are literally filling up these hospital beds so that when people show up who are in car accidents and things like that, simply don't have space in hospitals to go to, and people's care gets delayed, which can literally endanger people's lives. So not only are these unvaccinated people endangering their own lives, they're endangering the lives of others by flooding the hospitals and slowing down the entire machine. That is why these doctors are storming out in protest, demanding that there be more effort to ensure that people are vaccinated, demanding people to get vaccinated and to actually follow mask guidelines from the CDC. The truth is, if you look at Florida, their incredibly low vaccination rate and Governor Ron DeSantis' approach to coronavirus, which is basically just let everybody do what they want. Maybe it'll turn out fine. Well, it hasn't turned out fine, and these doctors are very, very upset about it because they've had to deal with almost 2 full years now of pandemic patients flooding their hospitals. Even as the vaccine is rolled out, these people still are refusing to take the vaccine, and only about half the state of Florida is vaccinated.
How has that worked out in the states that have done it? Has that stopped an outbreak in Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan? What about New Jersey? What about all these states where you have explosion in cases? So, I mean, at some point, does the observed experience matter? I'm opposed to mandates, period. I don't think they work.
Ron DeSantis, as I mentioned earlier, has a very laissez-faire approach to the pandemic, which is incredibly problematic. He even was very explicit in questioning the usefulness of mask mandates and lockdowns very early on in the pandemic. Now, I do want to state something very clear. The United States never really locked down. Even the states that took it more seriously didn't do the full scope of what really needed to be done, which is serious lockdowns where only the bare minimum businesses were open, and contact tracing to make sure that we actually followed the coronavirus around the path it took so that we could treat everybody and isolate people targeted way so that they don't spread the coronavirus themselves with asymptomatic spreading. This is why countries like Vietnam, with extreme lockdowns and contact tracing, managed to hold off coronavirus up until now, and even now, they've only had a total of about 1,000, 2,000 deaths of coronavirus, compared to the United States that's had hundreds of thousands of deaths. And Vietnam, to be clear, has about 1/3 of the population of the United States. So the fact that they've gotten away with less than 2,000 deaths is a pretty solid testament to the mask mandates and the lockdowns and the fact that they literally just work. This is Ben Carollo with Rebel Headquarters. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with my content. You can also catch me on the Young Turks Twitch channel every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time with my show Galaxy Brain.